Hey guys, welcome back. So we ain't got no notes. So we have to go off of memory. First things first, reasonably shady Giselle Bryant and Robin Dixon. Okay. They're on their podcast with Carlos King. I still have to listen to it. I didn't listen to it on there. I don't listen to it. But there's a clip going around on Twitter where Giselle basically says that she feels as though Karen is like the surprising breakout star of the season, and Robin feels as though Ashley is the breakout star of the season. Giselle says Karen because Karen is actually spilling her own tea. And in what other instance is she spilling her own tea, right? There's this notion that Karen is very guarded and really doesn't like opening up, and she's not vulnerable and this, that, and the third. So that's Giselle's sentiment. Robin's whole thing is Ashley. She saw herself and how boring she was last season, and she's stepping it up. Okay, she's self-producing, I guess you could say. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. Real Housewives of Atlanta. I think this is episode 11, 12, season 14, episode 11 or 12. I'm not really sure. Y'all, last night's episode was so good. I mean, it was such a key when I tell you it was so funny how the women were all at Blue Ridge. I mean, first things first, I kind of felt like Kenya Moore was being hella childish. Like, I feel like, okay, so you got to the house, you packed your bags up, you had your bags in the car for what reason, we don't know why. Why you ain't just move in and usher in all your suitcases and stuff like that at the beginning of the trip, or when you got there that following morning, we'll never know. I felt like Kenya, like the way she came in, like her and Marlo did have some sort of communication, but I felt like it was kind of rude. Like Kenya was being super dismissive, and it's just like, listen, girl, this is my trip. I'm speaking as Marlo. This is my trip. You're being super dismissive. You're acting like you don't even want to talk to me. It's like, sis, why are you even here? Why did you even show up? Why did I even invite your stank ass, right? And I had been on Team Kenya like this whole time up until this episode, and I just kind of feel like Kenya was acting childish. Like, I feel as though Marlo definitely has her faults. Marlo kept adding on stipulations. At first it was, okay, if you don't come by the house by 9 o'clock in the morning, you cannot partake in any of the activities. Then Marlo moved the goalposts and basically said, okay, goalposts? Yeah, goalposts. Not goalpost. She moved it and basically said, okay, well, you can't be a part of any of the activities unless we have a conversation, which I kind of did understand where Marlo was coming from, because I think that was only after Sonia had carried some bones, right? Because Kenya was basically venting to Sonia about how she feels a sort of way about Marlo kicking the boys out because it triggers her based off of her own childhood and how her grandmother kicked her out, and she felt like she didn't have unconditional love and people were just giving up on her. So she, kicked open that door while the van was still going and tumbled into the tumbleweeds. And it was a whole situation, and they couldn't find her for weeks. She was staying at an ex-boyfriend's house. So I say all of that to say, I think Kenya's feelings about that situation is valid. But I do also believe that the way Kenya was speaking about the situation was insensitive. Because although you may feel like what Marlo did wasn't acceptable, which a lot of us feel that way, I don't think I would have I don't know. I just kind of feel like, I don't know. Y'all, I'm so tired and through with that storyline. It's just like, it's like on one end, I don't want to judge anyone's parenting skills or guardianship skills. But then on the other hand, it's like, I don't agree with it. So it's like, I feel like there's a happy medium. I like the way Sheree's handling the situation. Sheree has said on multiple occasions that she doesn't feel as though what Marlo did was right, but you don't see her trashing Marlo. Right? That's how I feel about it. At the end of the day, it was not okay for her to kick out the boys and do whatever. But I'm not going to sit up here and act like, she lined them up against the wall and got a twig from outside the townhouse and started just whacking on their asses. So it's a delicate subject that I feel like Kenya isn't speaking from a sensitive place. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I see all sides. I see both sides like Chanel. Listen, it is what it is. So then Sonya goes back and carries that bone. And now Marlo wants to have a conversation because Sonya done got Marlo hyped up, which I'm not blaming Marlo for being hyped up because Sonya just basically told this woman that this woman has these strong feelings about your family dynamics and your nephews. I would be upset too. So I feel like Marlo has every reason to be upset. You came on my trip. You sat down and had a conversation to Sanya about my nephews, about my family life, home situation. You were not the nicest about it. And then you expect me to be cool with you. Like, I totally get where Marlo was coming from. Like, I'm going to have to give Marlo her points. And I don't care what y'all, like, I feel like Sonya ain't my favorite person, but I do think she deserves a second season. And I don't find it to be so appalling that she went back and carried the bone to whatchamacallit. Like, this is a reality TV show. Like, everything that you tell someone is going to be traveled back to somebody else. I thought that's how these shows work, okay? I think Sonya is getting a bad rep partly because I feel like her producer is telling her to do things. Her producer is telling her to be a bone carrier. Her producer is telling her to be with whatchamacallit. And she's doing it. And listen, it is what it is. Like, I feel like there's this Sonya hate train now. Like, and I can't believe, I'm just trying to give the girls chances. I'm trying to be nuanced in my opinions and whatnot. And I don't want to drag the girls too much. Bring them all the way down to the ground on this little TV show. But I just kind of feel like, okay, is Sonya annoying? Like, did she switch up? Is she a flip-flopper? Okay, she might as well be a gymnast instead of a track star. Absolutely. Sis is flipper. I almost said something. Sis is flipper. But I just kind of feel like the girl ain't do nothing that was so atrocious and so appalling to deserve all the social. Like, y'all gotta calm down. Calm down. Sit your ass down. Okay, you're acting like the girl, stole your man and took your job. Pipe down, bitch. Pipe down. How that thing go? That little girl on TikTok going, okay. Because I think the brother took the girl's food or lunch out the damn fridge, and she looking at the fridge like, where the hell is my food? So then she goes, oh, okay. And then the brother goes, pipe down, bitch. I'm sorry. Okay. So anyways, so yeah. So I understand why Marlo was so upset and hype at the situation, because you have to look at it through a psychological standpoint. Like, if Sonya just told me that this girl has these harsh words and these harsh feelings, these strong feelings about my home and family life, when we are not cool like that, I would be upset too. So honestly, I'm not upset with Marlo. The only thing about Marlo that I wish she would have done differently is I wish she would not let Kenya get under her skin so easily, because Marlo, you're showing your cards. How they used to say back in the day, the old ladies with the hats in the front of the pews at the church, your slip is showing. Your slip is showing. Girl, fix your skirt. Fix what you got going on. Marlo, your slip is showing. You showed your cards. Now everybody playing this game of Uno can collude against you, because we know what cards to put down and what cards not to put down to prevent your ass from winning. Because you had to travel to a sperm bank and he had to buy a medium-sized pizza so that you could have a child. Anyways. So, what I mean by Marlo is showing her slip, you can tell that she so desperately wants the attention, the love, and the affection from Kenya. Marlo feels dismissed. She feels unwanted. She feels like that's that trauma coming out. And I just wish that Marlo would not let her cards show. Like, stop being so bothered by this girl. Like, whatever happened to unbother? I feel like a lot of these folks in this episode could have used a little dose of unbotheredness. Like, whatever happened to get out of your feelings and get into your bag? Like, where is that Marlo at? Like, she's just way in her feelings. And I understand it because she has a lot going on, but it's just kind of like, you really, really are doing a lot for this girl. Like, let the girl come in and not speak. Let her be dismissive. Let her talk mess about the nephews. Like, just let her do that. Let her do that, because guess what? While you talking about video hoes and tax brackets, they letting you do all of that behind the scenes. Granted, they don't know you saying all that stuff. But it's like, just let Kenya look the way she gonna look regardless. Because I also heard that you was talking about Brooklyn. Okay, Candy in the speak on it said that you was talking about Brooklyn in the speak, or yeah, in the speak on it, Candy said that you was talking about Brooklyn in that scene where she brought up your nephews. Which, granted, listen, you talk about my family, I'm gonna start talking about your family. But people are gonna view that more harshly because that baby came out of that woman's tummy, and that's her biological mom. Yeah. Listen, I'm not gonna go down that. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole, okay? Because there's a resurface clip going around of Marlo saying that she borrowed some eggs and some sperm, the medium-sized pizza. Girl, I don't know. Anyways, so and then Kenya. So Marlo's trying to have this conversation with Kenya, and then Kenya's running all around the house, just being like childish. She's like, Kenya, have a conversation with the lady. And then we get the whole driveway situation, and it's just kind of like, how you gonna stay somewhere on a trip that you are not in? Like, you're not welcomed at this point. Like, I told you what my stipulations were. You refuse to have a conversation so we can settle this like grown women. Like, I felt like Marlo should have swallowed her pride in that moment and just kept it pushing. But I do understand why she was so annoyed with that woman. Like, y'all expect me to kiki it up with this woman after I just found out via Sonya that she had these things to say about my home life? Y'all got me fucked up. Y'all got me messed up. And I felt like Kenya, Kenya to me kind of won that situation, only because I felt like she knows what to do to get under that woman's skin, and she did it, and she doesn't have to try hard to do it. And I just kind of felt like it was Kenya kind of like poking, making that girl go crazy, knowing that she's already on the edge of a damn breakdown. Okay, we're going to see in next week episode how she's like, oh my God, I'm having a nervous breakdown, honey. She do her eyes like this, like, I'm having a nervous breakdown, child. And it's like, girl, woosah, woosah. I'm glad you're going to therapy, because, girl, you need it. And you need one of them therapists that's not, you don't need a nice one. You need one that's going to tell you the God honest truth and make you go home with some homework and then come back with that damn packet so that we can unpack why the way you act. Because, Marlo, you is crazy. I'm all over the place. But yeah, honestly, this whole situation, it's a draw. I feel like Kenya wrong. I feel like Marlo wrong. I feel like everybody wrong. Then you have the whole situation that we talked about earlier with Fatum and Drew. I feel like Fatum is drunk and crazy, but I love her. Fatum is dead ass wrong for stealing that woman's purse, but that shit is funny. And what was even funnier was the fact that if you pay attention very closely, because I'm into the editing. When I watch TV shows and movies, the things that I think about is like the editing and how fast paced things are, and the music and the cuts and like the angles and the camera. Like, I pay attention to all that type of stuff. So I noticed how every time Fatum would say something, the producers would always cut off her sentence. So Drew would be like, oh, you're Sheree's lapdog. And then Fatum is like, I'm nobody's. And then it's cut. And then they cut to something else. So it's like every time Fatum would try to say something, they would cut. So it looks like she's like incoherent and can't get out a sentence. It's so funny. Y'all, I'm running out of storage. Anyways, Manietta. I kind of feel like Manietta needs to step it up if she wants to be a part of this group of ladies. I feel like you cannot be sitting there to the side on the porch with Candy Burris Tucker. Candy Burris Tucker has put in all of her blood, sweat, and tears for the last 13 seasons. She's allowed to sit on the stool, on the stoop, in the corner, on the porch. Manietta, you are not. You need to be involved. You need to participate. You need to say your piece. Manietta got to do better. Who else? Yeah. Like, Manietta, if you want to be on the show, like, you're going to have to, like, really, really, like, yeah, you're failing. Like, I was disappointed because at first I'm like, why did they instead of Sonya, get Manietta? But Manietta, you're soft-spoken, you're nice, and you're sweet. And that's fine. You can be soft-spoken, nice, and sweet. I think Cherie Zampino is soft-spoken, nice, and sweet. But Cherie Zampino is going to make sure that her opinion is heard. What else did I have to say about this episode? I think that's it. I was going to talk about Married to Medicine, but I kind of feel like, listen. Was the ambush an effective move for Dr. Heavenly? Probably. And this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I feel as though, just like a regular intervention, the point of the intervention is because you've told somebody about themselves multiple times in a regular way, right? If you have an issue or a concern with someone, the normal day-to-day thing to do is have a conversation, a regular conversation. But when you've had conversations about this particular situation with this person and it doesn't get through to them and you feel as though it's to the detriment of who they are as a person, the only other option is an intervention. Do I feel like a regular conversation with Heavenly would have sufficed? No. I think, maybe Heavenly did a wake-up call. And maybe it wasn't the most civil thing. Maybe it wasn't the thing to do if you just wanted to keep the peace in the group. But it definitely was a wake-up call. Okay, wake up. It was a wake-up call. Hey, Nene, wake up. And they got their point across. So I think it did its job. And I know you guys are going to disagree with me, but. And then on top of that, it was grade A top tier television. I mean, that was interesting. I think this is one of the most interesting so far. I think we're like 3-4 episodes in. I think 3 episodes into Married to Medicine, and I'm not bored. Like usually I'd be real jaded and bored with Married to Medicine like after 2 seconds. But for some reason, it's something about this season that's a lot more interesting than the past. So let me know how y'all feel about that situation in the comments down below. I think that was all that I wanted to speak on. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to create a great day.